Let's review Pesachim, Daf Zayin. The Gemara starts with Rava teaching us that if one ate before Kiddush Friday night, or if one ate before Havdalah, Motzei Shabbos, you're still allowed to make Kiddush and Havdalah. And if one didn't make Kiddush Friday night, he can make all Shabbos. And if one didn't make Havdalah, Motzei Shabbos, he can make until Tuesday afternoon. The Gemara teaches us that a Meimar came to a city, and it was Motzei Shabbos. He did not make Havdalah yet, and he asked for wine. They didn't have wine, they brought him beer. He refused to make Havdalah on beer. He didn't eat until the next day, and the next day they found wine for him. The following year he came back, and once again, Motzei Shabbos, they brought him beer, and this time he said, I see people drink beer here, this is the Chamar Medina, and he was willing to make Havdalah on the beer. In addition to learning that you could make Havdalah on Chamar Medina, we also see from a Meimar three things. A, even though he made Havdalah, B'choinin Hadas, he said, he still needs to make Havdalah ala kos. You also know that one may not eat until one makes Havdalah ala kos. And we also learned that if you cannot make Havdalah Motzei Shabbos, you can even make it Sunday and maybe even later. The Gemara then gets into a big discussion as to whether or not sheikh or beer from Tamarim can be used to make Kiddush as well as to make Havdalah. And there's very strong opinions in either direction, to the point that Rava said that anybody who's going to make Kiddush on beer will become poor and you won't even be able to afford wine. On the other hand, Rav actually made Kiddush on beer, and Rafuna said it's because you like beer, you actually manufacture beer, so it's chaviv by you. Then the Gemara discusses how much beer must you drink, or how much wine. That the Mevorach has to be toyim, how much must he be toyim? So there's one sheet that says it's just a kol shu, just a drop, but Rabbi Yossi says it has to be malay lugma, it has to be one cheek full, and if not, you're not yotze. Tosfos tells us that this malay lugma is a roiv of Revius. The Gemara then teaches us, back to our Mishnah, that says one may not eat samach lemincha. The Gemara wants to know, was the samach lemincha mean samach lemincha gedola, meaning from already noontime? And the reason why it would be usher to eat from so early in the day is because if you start a meal, you might get involved in a meal and you might not bring your carbon pesach. Or does it mean samach lemincha tana, which would be after the carbon pesach was already brought, and the reason why you shouldn't eat at that point is that you should not lose your appetite to eat matzah. The Gemara brings a raya from a brayso that says that even a gripas who eats very late in the day, even he's not allowed to eat after samach lemincha. Clearly, it cannot be because of the shaila of not being able to do the carbon pesach, and we can't be talking about the earlier mincha, the mincha g'dayla, because then it shouldn't make a difference if it's a gripas or anybody else. A gripas is no greater a chiddush. If we're talking about mincha tana, then there in fact there is a chiddush of a gripas, because since he's used to eating later in the day, you might think that his appetite doesn't get ruined. Therefore, it's a chiddush that even a gripas has to stop eating samach mincha tana, and that proves that the samach mincha that our Mishnah says you're not allowed to eat after that point is mincha tana. The Gemara then says that even though you're not allowed to eat on Erev Pesach, you're allowed to eat mini terkiva, which the Rishbam explains are peiros or basar, birchas ha'etz, birchas shahakoil, but Tosfos suggests that it might be mizonos. The Gemara teaches us that Rabbi Yitzchak would eat vegetables on Erev Pesach because vegetables induce the appetite, and Rabbi Yitzchak wanted to do things to induce his appetite. The Gemara also tells us that the Gemara tells us that a shamis, the Gemara brings a brisa that a shamis who's preparing the food, he can eat from the b'nei ayim and share with the orchim once again because it develops an appetite. The pasuk says nir lechem nir, prepare for your planting, v'al tizrul ha'kotzim, which means prepare for your planting, create an appetite so you should be able to eat the matzah by the seder tonight with an appetite. Rava would drink wine because he felt also that wine induces an appetite, but it doesn't make you full. And the Gemara proves that wine makes you have an appetite rather than make you full, because the brayso says that you're allowed to drink between the first two kaisos, but not between the third and fourth. Why would you be able to drink between the first two kaisos if you're going to be eating matzah soon? It must be that drinking the wine, in fact, induces the appetite. Rabbi Sheshes would fast all Erev Pesach. The Gemara says the reason why he did was because he was very sensitive and he knew that even if he would eat in the morning, he still wouldn't have an appetite at night, and therefore he fasted all Erev Pesach.